Welcome to the Flynn Brothers podcast. I'm John.
And I'm Jimmy. Today's big idea. Batman is the greatest character in American fiction, Part 3.
We discuss our favorite TV shows, video games, and comic books featuring The Dark Knight.
Later, we list our favorite direct-to-video and theatrical Batman films. Lil teaser, we have an obvious favorite and a not-so-obvious second favorite.
Finally, we present our best ideas for adapting the Batman mythology in a segment we call BatPitches.
It's all coming up. But first, here's the Solons.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Here we are, Part 3. Batman. He's a great character, perhaps the greatest character in American fiction. I think we've made great strides in proving that throughout this podcast series. Wouldn't you agree, buddy?
I'd say we've done it. I think that was what we finished the last segment doing.
Oh, my goodness.
Comparing
you're
him
right.
to all the other characters in American fiction, and they all were found wanting.
It was pretty resolute, then, our conclusion. So I guess then in Part 3, what we'll do is, as we said in the intro, we'll discuss our favorite forms of media that have involved Batman. These are sort of, when we did our best movie year of the century, we talked about doing Flynn Brothers favorites. That's what this kind of is. We're sharing some Flynn Brothers favorites involving the Batman universe. I think that's kind of cool, right? Flynn Brothers podcast, Flynn Brothers favorites.
Absolutely. I would imagine that's what people are coming for. If they're not listening to this to hear what we like, they've certainly come to the wrong place. And I think part of this is Batman exists in so many different mediums, so many different movies and TV shows and video games and comic books that there's just this mountain of content about him, and we're here to be your Sherpas through the passes of this mountain.
In Part 2, we compared the Batman as a character to Red Dead Redemption 2, and us saying previously on an episode that it was the greatest Western, like you said, in part due to its sheer volume of content. And I think, another thing we talked about is how the best Batman realizations have a perfect balance between sort of those campy, comedic, over-the-top roots that the character has with the gritty, grounded realism that has made modern Batman adaptations so critically acclaimed. And I just think, if you have one that goes too far in one direction or too far in the other direction, like, the 60s Adam West, those are a little too campy. The Zack Snyder Batmans, those are a little too dark. And you really need to balance the two. Otherwise, it's just not a very good Batman adaptation.
I agree. It's a classic form of entertainment, I think, Batman. You also want a little bit of romance, perhaps there's a love story between Batman and Catwoman. You want some comedy. You want you want some action. You want a full plate, You want to really be at the hometown buffet of entertainment when you're getting Batman.
I think Gotham City has a hometown buffet. I have to imagine so.
Almost certainly, yeah.
So
the seediest one in the entire world.
So yeah, these Flynn Brothers favorites we'll discuss.
Sorry, I gotta interrupt.
Oh yeah,
two-faced goons filling up a soft serve sundae.
So
hey, Face, are you paying?
Face, they got swirl.
Don't bring anything back that you're not going to eat. They hate it when people do that.
Of course, Two-Face would love swirl because it's the two, the two that make one.
Yes, of course. So he'd go nuts for it. Perhaps that'd be all he would get, or he would have salads and raw meat,
right, to satisfy his two sides of his personality. We're a little loose up top. Let's get into it. We're gonna go through our Flynn Brothers favorites. We're gonna start with our favorite Batman TV show, and it is Batman the Animated Series. What do you think of first when you think of Batman the Animated Series?
The theme song, I would say. Dun dun dun. Yeah, beautiful. Danny Elfman. There's these bad guys are robbing a bank and they blow the doors off it, and that's like kind of a cymbal crash, and Batman comes in, and yeah, it's just a really well thought out version of it.
The art design too, which is so well encapsulated in that themes, that opening. It's very retro. It's very Art Deco. Like Gotham is rendered in this. All the buildings are Art Deco. The sky is blood red at all points of night. As soon as the sun goes down, it's just blood red. It's a very noirish take on Batman. There's a lot of repartee. There's a lot of femme fatales. There's a lot of old school storytelling devices. And it's very faithful to the comics too, wouldn't you say? Doesn't it almost just feel like the comic books brought to life?
Yes, totally. It's got this sort of retro futuristic vibe where the cars look like they're from the 50s, but there's some technology that's more advanced. Obviously Batman needs to exist in some sort of a technologically advanced state because he has all of his gadgets. He's got his computer. He's got all of these different things. But yeah, and I think it engages children, which we were engaged as kids. And then I remember we were super thrilled when HBO Max announced that they would have the whole library of that show available on their platform, because it's really just one of the great shows to throw on if you're like, what do I want to watch? What do I want to watch? And you're just kind of maybe falling asleep at night, or you're, it can totally engage your attention, or it's something that you can kind of absolutely just relax to and sort of be lulled by the sounds and the themes and the beautiful imagery on the screen.
The voice acting is second to none. Kevin Conroy voices Batman. Give me a little Kevin Conroy as Batman.
Where's the Riddler?
Perfect. It's just a very straight monotone. And then his Bruce Wayne is like maybe like a decibel higher in pitch. It's just like...
do I have to go to the gala?
Yeah.
Like,
can I beat criminals to a pulp?
Yeah.
Goes back down. And then Mark Hamill, of course, is the Joker, has the iconic, I would say the best Joker laugh. I think that's pretty definitive. He has the best Joker laugh.
Remarkable, the iconic nature of his two most well-known characters. I mean, you're probably
Yes.
the ultimate good guy and the ultimate bad guy.
Luke Skywalker and the Joker.
Yeah.
One hilarious thing about Batman the Animated Series is, everything's so sleek. The art design is so great. But Bruce Wayne always wears the same suit in every episode, and it is the worst suit ever. I wrote down these details so the audience can kind of put a picture in their head. This is Bruce Wayne's suit that he wears every day to galas, to board meetings, etc. So he has a brown, I'd say chocolate brown, double-breasted coat, which double-breasted is already nuts, although it does sell the fact that he's a big man. Big guys wear the double-breasted suit.
You need both breasts to fit his whole chest.
That's right. But I said suit. It's not a suit because there are khaki pants that are two-tone with the coat. So you have chocolate brown up top, khaki on the bottom. He's wearing a yellow shirt, bright canary yellow, and a black tie. So you have a brown two-tone suit, double-breasted, with a black tie, brown and black, an absolute fashion no-no traditionally, and then tying it all together, a hideous canary yellow shirt. It is insanely ugly.
He is designed to look like a dipstick, like just a fool, an idiot, a man who cannot dress himself despite having all the money in the world. And he's plays that side of the character too. I think in the animated series you get the most marked contrast between Bruce Wayne, the character who is really just like wants to make himself seem totally like wallpaper, and Batman, who is the, ultimate ass kicker.
Almost a companion piece to Batman the Animated Series is our favorite video game, which I suppose is a video game series. It is the Batman Arkham video game series. The two games we love the most are Batman Arkham City and then Batman Arkham Knight. We'll start with Batman Arkham City. Essentially, the plot is Gotham is so corrupt and the income inequality is so severe that this man Hugo Strange has convinced city officials to put all of the criminals into a secluded portion of the city, and this like segmented off portion of the city is just one giant jail where they can run free and commit as many heinous crimes as they want. And then Bruce Wayne is thrown into this jail after going through a kangaroo court.
Yeah.
And he becomes Batman, and it's awesome. The whole game basically takes place in one night. You're as Batman trying to stop a doomsday scenario. You encounter virtually every single member of the Rogues Gallery, and I know your favorite thing. Perhaps the hallmark of these Arkham games is the fight mechanics you experience as Batman. Talk a bit about these fight mechanics.
You flow from one action into the other. There's a lot of emphasis on blocking and countering the attacks of the various goons who are coming at you. They're all dressed in themed costumes dependent upon whose gang of the Rogues Gallery they belong to.
Right. Riddler goons are in all green. Joker goons have clown masks, etc.
And Batman fights with a force and grace that is frankly impossible. Like the bat suit must have some sort of exoskeleton thing going on that's enhancing his abilities to move around, because he's, spinning around, leaping into the air, landing roundhouse kicks. It's remarkable.
The fight mechanics really are what make it so addicting, but the storytelling is what makes it so rich. It's like the animated series. It's kind of that same tone. There's a lot of the same writers that were in the animated series, a lot of the same voice actors. Kevin Conroy voices Batman, Mark Hamill voices the Joker. And another hilarious thing is it's a little more adult than the animated series. The Batman universe is one of extremes of black and white, good and evil, rich and poor. And in this game, all the dudes are jacked and all the chicks are like sexy in skin tight outfits, which is always like kind of a hallmark of the Batman universe. But this takes it to the like upteenth degree. If you want, you can just Google Catwoman Batman Arkham City, and it is lurid imagery. You'll probably get one of those things on Google that say, are you willing to accept searches that may not be age appropriate or whatever? Like it is so hilarious how every guy is like 6'7", 300 pure muscle, and every woman is just like voluptuous skin tied outfit.
Yeah, every guy's LeBron, every woman's Pamela Anderson. And that's just sort of something I think that fits in video games. That's sort of the video game language that happens. The other thing that I find funny about the Arkham City is you would imagine that the section of the city that they give to the criminals would be the outskirts, or like a place that was not that nice. It's like downtown, like city center. There's museums that are like, I think City Hall they just give away. It really gives you an idea of the desperation of these city officials to just be like, you know what, we've tried everything. Let's just make one corner of the city lawless.
One of the most brilliant storytelling pieces in the Arkham City game is the Joker has been infected with this like blood disease, this toxin in his blood. Again, we've mentioned how toxins are a big part of the Batman universe. And Joker captures Batman and injects some of his poisoned blood into Batman. And it's just such a brilliant storytelling device in terms of how these two characters, we talked about, they're always connected. They're these mirrors of each other. And here's a very like literal example in the storytelling of these two being connected. And as you're Batman, as you go through the game, you start hallucinating, you start getting sicker and sicker. And I'll spoil the ending. There's this brilliant ending where Batman gets the antidote and is about to save Joker despite all that he's done, but Joker gets greedy and I think like reaches for the antidote or somehow breaks before he can take it. So Batman has administered it to himself and he's cured. And then Joker dies as the end of the game, which is crazy. It's such a crazy. If you want a brilliant Batman, you need to kill the Joker, right? It is like a surefire way to lend some real gravitas. And then the end of the game is Batman carrying Joker out of Arkham City, like the Pieta, he's like holding him like he's Jesus, as Mary held Jesus down from the cross. And he like comes out of Arkham City and Jim Gordon's there with all the cops like, geez Louise, what happened in there?
What was going on?
And it's a really extraordinary example. It's considered one of the best video games of all time. It's certainly high up on my list. But what a remarkable achievement, that game.
Your point is correct about killing the Joker because the Joker is everybody's second favorite Batman character. Like, usually it doesn't go, everybody loves the hero, and then everybody's second favorite character, if not favorite character, is the ultimate villain. Like, Lord of the Rings, people don't love Sauron. They don't love Voldemort in the Harry Potter universe, but the Joker is such a charismatic, captivating character that you feel like not only... you're kind of like vindicated. It's like, finally, but this guy's dead. He can no longer terrorize Gotham City as he's done for decades. But you feel like Batman lose part of his purpose because I think you can always justify having Batman around if the Joker exists. But I would argue that almost any of the other villains you could kind of probably take care of with just really good detectives and district attorneys. But the Joker requires Batman.
He requires a vigilante. The other game we love, Arkham Knight. It's also great. Very similar to Arkham City. You get to play with the Batmobile, which is really cool. We talked about on an earlier part. It's basically a tank. The Arkham Knight is this character who's basically the main foe in the game, and he's kind of an AI Batman. He's just like a next-gen Batman, and again, spoiler alert, it's revealed to be Jason Todd, which is one of the old Robins, who I believe is killed off in one of the comic books. He's tortured, basically, to death by the Joker, and it's very fascinating. Batman, at the end, kind of wins him back over to the good side, and it's a great game. It doesn't have the same level of acclaim that Arkham City has, I think, because, the Joker's not as present in it, but it's still a very, very great game. Of course, the fight mechanics are incredible, and we've played it several times.
It just sort of treads in territory that the prior game has, and it's just pretty much equally excellent, just with more advanced technology that allows you to do more in the game.
In my opinion, and I would imagine yours, I really find that these sort of companion works, Batman the Animated Series and the Batman Arkham games, they are sort of the pinnacle of Batman storytelling, because I feel that Batman is almost too awesome for the confines of a comic book, yet it's a bit too unrealistic of a world for the confines of a live-action movie. So I think, like, animated TV series or video game, something where you get Batman continuously and you really get to get under his skin and you get to be Batman. I just really think these represent the pinnacle of Batman storytelling.
I think it's because it's essentially a motion version of a comic book series. Like an individual comic, I think, the totality of all the comics told over a long time, or like a long graphic novel about Batman, that really works, because I think Batman works best in these sort of small segments, like a mission in a video game or an episode in the animated series, but then it's also part of a collective whole where you're told a larger story throughout. So yeah, I think you're right.
It's a serial.
And I think the other part of it, too, is it's so difficult to capture what Bruce Wayne and Batman are like in just a human form.
Yes. There's elements that are just a bit preposterous, and it helps to have the kind of detachment from reality that you get with animation or a video game. Okay, let's do our our Flynn brother favorite comic books. Not technically the best, you can argue them, but they're our favorites. We'll start with The Dark Knight Returns. This is a great comic book graphic novel, I think from the 80s. It features old Batman, which is one of our favorite archetypes, because Batman is always young, virile, great at fighting. But what is the magic? What is the thing we love about there being an old Batman?
It's the same thing that we love about seeing LeBron still have it, Cristiano still have it. The old guys still got it. You want your heroes to never grow old. And even if they do grow old, they find new ways to be excellent.
There's a great moment in this where Batman has not been Batman for a while, and Bruce Wayne suits up again and becomes Batman, and Joker has been in Arkham Asylum, and once Bruce Wayne decides to become Batman again, Joker for years has been in a catatonic state, and once Batman comes back, Joker wakes from his catatonic state. Again, a great example of how they're connected. The comic book features a female Robin, character Carrie Kelly, so that's kind of fun. A good way of doing Robin and kind of bridging it with the Batgirl thing. Funny thing with this comic book as well, because it took place in the 80s, there's a lot of elements about the Cold War, which have aged well in some ways, and then at other times feel very dated. Superman is a big part of this comic book, and there's a lot of bits about him like fighting the Soviets and stuff like that. And if you've ever read Watchmen, Watchmen features a lot about like the Cold War and the nuke and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. How do you kind of feel with these Cold War elements? Does it kind of date it, or do you feel like it adds a nice dimension to it?
It kind of fits the perpetual era in which Batman exists. I feel like it's hard to ever put Batman quite in any year necessarily, and like the Cold War era just sort of feels right, that there's this brinksmanship, the stakes are high, that there's this extra element, and it does make you yearn for a superhero to resolve this conflict that could lead to the extinction of the planet.
The climax of the comic book, Batman and Superman battle it out. And this was adapted in the Batman v, not versus, v Superman by Zack Snyder. And Batman wins the battle, which you would not expect. Again, money cannot buy happiness, but it can buy superpowers. There is a brilliant quote from Batman talking to Superman as he's beaten him. I'm going to let you go ahead and read it. I jotted it down here. I say, "You're Batman. You just beaten Superman. Go."
"I want you to remember, Clark, in all the years to come, in your most private moments, I want you to remember my hand at your throat. I want you to remember the one man who beat you."
You know what's crazy is that word for word is what you told me the last time you beat me in one-on-one pickup basketball. My hand at your throat. I remember that.
No, I think that's so great, though, because Batman and Superman, I think, are excellent foils for one another because they both have what the other desires. Superman really wants to be a human being, and he's as awkward and sort of, corny as Bruce Wayne can be. He is a human being who definitely has more, as the kids would say, riz than Clark Kent.
Right.
And Batman wants superpowers. Batman wishes he could have all of the powers of... I think Batman thinks if I had Superman's powers, there would be no more crime.
Yeah, that's probably true. There is probably an element of envy to it. I think
Batman probably sees Superman as lazy.
yeah. Save Gotham, why don't you? At the very end of the comic book, Batman, kind of toward the end of the battle, he fakes a heart attack and dies, and they bury him. And then Superman can hear as they bury Bruce. He's at his funeral. He can hear the heartbeat under the ground, and I forget the exact mechanics, but basically it ends with Batman and his superhero friends underground, ready to continue their pursuit of crime. Which begs the question: is Batman gonna do this until he dies? I mean, in this thing, he's 55, 60. I mean, can you imagine a 55 or 60-year-old, still kicking crime's ass every night of the week?
No, none that I know. Certainly, it's my dad. No, I think that yes, it is. It's so hard to see Bruce/Batman ever deciding that, we did it. No more crime. Crime is at an acceptable level. No more little boys are in danger of losing their parents. I think it's just something that sort of haunts him for his whole life. And in juxtaposition to, say, an athlete who usually retires when nobody will give them a contract anymore.
Right.
Batman is not beholden to anybody.
No, he doesn't do it for the money. I'll put it that way.
There's no salary cap on Batman.
No. Last comic book we really enjoy, The Long Halloween. This is a great premise in this comic book where there is a villain known as the Holiday Killer who kills a person once a month on a holiday. So Halloween is the first one, and then Thanksgiving, Christmas, etc. It's wonderful. Most of the villains are featured. You see Harvey Dent's transformation to Two-Face, and Batman and Halloween just kind of go hand in hand, right? I think in part one we talked about how he wears a costume like it's Halloween, right? I think there is just something where Halloween is really the holiday that fits the Batman universe.
It's also the only holiday where you really are outside at night is the main thing, and that's what Batman does. That's that's where he's at.
That's what he does in 4th of July. It can be at night with the fireworks, but everyone's eyes are up at the rooftops, and they'll see me skulking.
He's also got to dodge illegal fireworks being
true,
popped
that's
off,
true.
which I'm sure Gotham City
Oh, my
really
God,
goes
man.
to town on.
LA's crazy all night with the fireworks, but I bet Gotham's, well, you know, probably some gunfire from a Tommy gun mixed in there. All right, anyway, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we're talking our favorite Batman movies. Welcome back. We are talking about now our favorite direct-to-video Batman movies. God, we're cool, guys.
We're so awesome.
All right, first one we're going to do is Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker. This was a Tower Video favorite when we were growing up. That's right, we used to rent movies. People are familiar with Tower Records. They had a video store as well, Tower Video. I think there was a deal where if you went on a Thursday night, it was half price. If you returned it by Saturday morning, something like that, or maybe it was Friday night, you got to return it by Saturday morning.
And they want the weekend. Big bucks.
Get a couple. They will like to double dip those video stores, and yeah, we love this movie. It's kind of cool. The conception of Gotham. It's sort of done in this futuristic style, so not retro futuristic, purely futuristic, a little Jetsons-y. And
more like what the early 2000s would have imagined the future to look like.
There's a lot of electric
Y2K
Yes,
feel.
there's a lot of like electric guitar in the score, and it has so there's kind of this Gen X angle on it. Again, it has an old Batman, old Bruce Wayne. He doesn't really suit up; he stays old. This young protege, Terry McGinnis, is who is Batman, and that is an early 2000s name, isn't it? Terry McGinnis,
McGinnis,
Irish fella, huh?
Yeah.
And anyway, the one of the main plots is Joker has kidnapped Robin, who's Tim Drake, another Robin, and has basically turned Robin into a mini Joker. And the end of it, I am mistaken, actually. Bruce Wayne does suit up again, because of course he does. He doesn't know how to retire. And he kills the Joker, the young Robin, who is taken under Joker's spell, eventually betrays the Joker and kills him. And again, it just proves the point. If you want a great Batman adaptation, you gotta kill the Joker.
Gotta kill the Joker. Full of hubris, too. The Joker, too, like, I don't think we made an argument, does Batman even want to be Batman? I don't know that the Joker wants to be the Joker. He's someone who's just begging Batman to kill him.
Actually, this movie might have had a brief theatrical release, but we'll call it a direct-to-video movie. It's Batman, Mask of the Phantasm. And this sort of features a foil to Batman, the Phantasm, who, spoiler alert, is revealed to be Bruce Wayne's love interest. Isn't that awesome? So the whole time you're thinking this has to be some fella, and it's the gal that Bruce likes. And again, it just proves that Bruce Wayne, love is not for him. Any love interest he has is doomed. She's either a cat, or she's got poison lips,
or she's wearing a mask,
or she's a phantasm.
She's committing crimes. Every chick Bruce loves is committing crimes.
The great thing this film does is really plumb the depths of the Batman Bruce Wayne psyche, which can get a little repetitive. We've seen it we've seen the origin story so many times in film and TV shows, but this film really does a good job. Other great direct-to-video movies, we have The Long Halloween and Dark Knight Returns, which we talked about in our comic book section a little while ago. They're both great. Both those films are two-parters too, so they're kind of like 3 hours, but yeah, both of those are wonderful.
Yeah, good adaptations. I mean, I think that and I think the more recent Batmans have gone into this sort of source material, but there's really a lot of rich, well thought out plot and characterization in these graphic novels slash kind of comic books, and especially the ones that get adapted into these sort of more direct to video versions that would do well, I think, in a theatrical live action.
In the last 10 years, DC has done a lot of these kind of Batman genre movies, for lack of a better phrase. So one example is Gotham by Gaslight, which places Batman in sort of late 1800s Victorian England version of Gotham City, and he's hunting down Jack the Ripper. It's very odd. What do you think when they kind of do these genre pictures? They take Batman and Gotham City, these elements we know so well, but they drop them into a completely different place and time.
I think it works for this one specifically because London, as we know it at that time period, the smoke and the industrial age
the
and
crime.
the old and I mean Gothic buildings,
Yes,
like,
yeah,
it fits
it's true.
Gotham. It fits the same sort of feel. So Batman makes sense to me in that environment, and Jack the Ripper as well. It's like, yeah, get some classic all-time villain of history and have Batman go after him.
Him and Joker probably would have gotten along okay.
Jack the Ripper.
Their Joker, yeah. Even Joker probably would have been like, this guy's a little nuts for me.
I don't know what the sense of humor Jack the Ripper
probably
had
not
was.
much. Probably not much. Another genre picture they did Soul of the Dragon, which is sort of Batman in the world of a Bruce Lee style 70s martial arts movie, and they have a lot of the tropes, like they have kind of the blaxploitation character with like a big afro, and they have sort of the Bruce Lee character, and very, very interesting. Again, just taking a Batman and these familiar elements and putting them into a completely different world.
This one also works because Batman knows kung fu, karate, whatever martial art you want to give him, but he also has the classic origin story for a kung fu movie, which is your parents are killed and you seek revenge, and that I think also lends itself well to this genre.
You really are the intended audience of these pictures, aren't you? You love them, huh?
It's pretty embarrassing. There would be times though where I would, you'd be off with your fiance, and I would be back at our apartment before we moved into separate places.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd watch one of these, and then you guys would come back the next night. We'd watch something all together. And the recently watched were these Batman.
Right. You're like, I accidentally clicked on that. I was watching sports.
Yeah,
and,
I was watching a foreign film, actually.
I think maybe someone has my password, and they're watching pathetic Batman movies.
Some teenage boy.
Yeah. But I think, with these genre pictures and the direct-to-video, they've kind of gone outside the box. It just kind of shows, we talked about Batman as a global icon. Batman is a very versatile, globally appealing intellectual property, and it is kind of cool that these characters can be repurposed. They're so familiar that it's almost like, I hate to when people make this comparison, but it's almost like Shakespeare, where it's like, oh, they'll take they're doing
Julius Caesar, but they're setting it in
right.
Washington, D.C.
Or they're doing Othello, and it's in the military in modern day, right, with Denzel on Broadway. So, yeah, it's stuff like that. I think Batman and the whole mythology really lends itself to that.
It's also nice with these more small scale, because, with the theatrical releases, which we're going to get into, they require so much money to be spent. And these animated things, I think, to your point, Batman does deserve to have this sort of flexibility in terms of the way that it's realized, and it's cool to have the freedom that animation allows.
All right. The time everyone has been waiting for. We're going to do our top 3 live-action Batman movies. Of course, there's many honorable mentions. We pretty much like all the live-action Batman movies. We've seen them all. We enjoy them all. But these top 3 are really the ones we think, in terms of what we like, best encapsulate what a Batman movie should be for various reasons.
Yeah, but any of them, if it's on cable TV, I'm watching.
We're watching them. All right, we're going to go in descending order. Number 3, in third place, the bronze medal. We have 2022's The Batman with Robert Pattinson, writer-director Matt Reeves. What comes to mind when you think of The Batman?
It's the definitive gritty realization of Batman, which is what I think they're really aiming for. Like, the Batmobile is you can kind of gauge how ridiculous a Batman movie is going to be based on the Batmobile. For instance, the 60s Batman, the Batmobile is basically just a convertible.
Right. It's a Corvette with like a spoiler or two.
Yeah. And this one, and then the Christopher Nolan ones, which definitely are aiming for realism, but certainly have a touch of the fantastical to them as well. That car is ludicrous. Like it is
the
believable.
Tumbler, they call it.
Yeah, it's believable, but at the same time, it's crazy. The car in this movie is very much like I could see a rich guy putting that together and it not being that difficult.
The sort of young, angsty performance and look of Pattinson is really great. There's like, it's almost like a teenager who's like, oh, mom, get out of my room. Like he has that relationship with Alfred. There's great hints of comedy throughout. Colin Farrell's great as the Penguin. There's just good noir dialogue. I think where the film suffers a little is in the climax, where the Riddler has been apprehended and all these like Riddler. He's got barbecue sauce.
I think you
on
can
his
get
fingers.
those at Hometown Buffet.
That's right, the Ribblers. There's all these like Riddler copycats who Batman has to battle in the climax, and there's this concept in film that we like to talk about: the fist fight to save the world, where your main good guy and your main bad guy have to fight in the climax, and it's just not as satisfying if they don't. Maybe it's a little hacky, maybe it's a little tropey, but if you don't have the main bad guy and the main good guy duking it out, the audience is going to feel a little unsatisfied. I think the way the film ends is great. It's 3 hours. It's long. I think the last time we watched it, we took like 3 bathroom breaks, maybe had lunch in the middle. And it's overall great. I wouldn't say it's perfect. There's certainly flaws, but it really is a very adult, kind of R-rated feeling Batman movie too. Not sort of in the Zack Snyder sense where it's a little more lurid, but just a very grown-up movie. Certainly if you were a teenager, you'd like it, but anything younger than that, I don't know. It maybe is just too adult.
A little too slow, a little too much to follow. But yeah, Pattinson looks great as Batman.
Oh, yes,
Not only,
yes.
especially as Bruce Wayne, really does the kind of plays him more as a recluse as opposed to the billionaire playboy. And as Batman, he's great. I mean, the main prerequisite you have to have if you're going to put on the cowl is you have to have a massive jaw.
Lantern
jaw, as we're fond of saying here. And he certainly has that. And he just really, like, I feel like all those years of Twilight where he has to use his eyes to glower so much really pay off here, because you have to do, really, when you're in the bat suit, the eyes are so much of what you are communicating with your acting. And he plays it well. I think Zoe Kravitz also is really good as Catwoman, a little bit maybe more understated than some typical Catwomans that we've seen, but certainly gives a good take on it. And when her and Bruce or her and Batman are, fighting in that crime scene, and they're sort of like fighting yet also wanting to make out with each other.
Yes,
that's kind of the dynamic you want between those two.
Absolutely. Well, if the Batman is sort of the best gritty realism take, our favorite, more campy take will be our not so obvious second favorite live action Batman movie. Drum roll. Batman Forever.
Yes.
1995. Val Kilmer as Batman. Jim Carrey as the Riddler. Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. It's got Nicole Kidman. I believe her character's name is Dr. Chase Meridian.
Yes. What a worthy pursuit you must be, Jim Carrey quips to her.
Chris O'Donnell as Robin. What comes to mind when you think of Batman Forever?
Just fun, so much fun. It's a childhood movie that really hits the spot when you throw it on. There's also like Drew Barrymore. Like the other thing that's crazy about it is it's stacked.
Oh my God! Because Jim Carrey had just come off. We talked about in our Aging Comedy Stars podcast, 1994. He has The Mask. He has Dumb and Dumber. He has Ace Ventura. He's white hot. He's making 10, 20 million a movie, whatever it is. And this is his movie that he, big Hollywood movie that he capitalizes with on his fame. He really had, there's been many stories you can Google about the sort of on-set feud Jim Carrey had with Tommy Lee Jones. I think Tommy Lee Jones the year before had won an Oscar for The Fugitive and saw himself as a very serious actor and was kind of enraged that he would have to be sharing the screen with Jim Carrey.
The man who just talked out of his ass, literally.
Ace Ventura. And yeah, knowing that adds a real charged pleasure to watching the film, because you know that one of these guys hated the other guy.
There is that relationship between Two-Face and the Riddler
Yes,
too. Like
yes.
Two-Face does not really like the Riddler.
No,
Doesn't appreciate that he's kind of honing in on his turf. Like the onset and offset dynamics mirror each other very well. Nicole Kidman is at her absolute peak playing a ludicrous femme fatale. She's like a psychologist, and it is like the definition of hack 90s pop psychology. Batman takes a Rorschach test, and you guessed it, the Rorschach. Rorschach splotches look like a bat. She's a kickboxer. Val Kilmer is playing it very understated. Like
It's
probably
the
most understated Bruce Wayne.
It's a really good performance. I think we talked about earlier, he kind of captures the sort of Batman's mentally disturbed. He is not. There's a social stuntedness to him that Pattinson also captures well. And then Kilmer is just so handsome that he really has a great look for Bruce Wayne.
Oddly, the fullest lips of any Batman, which is renders him a little bit funny looking in the, and that a great moment in that is the way that Nicole Kidman figures out that Bruce Wayne is Batman is because she's kissed Batman and then she kisses Bruce Wayne and she's like, I know those lips.
I know those soft Kilmer lips. It's just for us, maybe it leans a little too far into the comedic, but it to me, it's just a perfect balance. The stylization is great from Joel Schumacher. And then, of course, we have to mention the homoeroticism. There's nipples on the bat suit. There's a lot of sort of winking homoeroticism throughout the film. And, man, it's just so much fun. It's just like, they'll occasionally online have these rankings like top 5, top 10 Batman movies. And this one's usually like dead last along with Batman and Robin. And it's just like, if you don't like this movie, it's just, where's your sense of fun? It's so fun, man. It's so fun.
I don't know. I think a lot of people who don't like it are maybe in like Gen X. And this is a movie that is so sincere in its realization of this. Like, it's not like it's funny. It's being funny. It's being campy. It's being over the top.
It's corny.
But if you want to be jaded and say like, this
sure.
is lame, or like, this is too much, or whatever. Like, the other great element of it is Jim Carrey's character at first loves Bruce Wayne. He works for Wayne Enterprises.
Right.
He is jilted by Bruce Wayne and then launches a career to take Bruce Wayne's place at the top of Gotham's business and social world and styles himself exactly like Val Kilmer.
Yes.
So you have Jim Carrey doing a Val Kilmer sort of rip-off impression, kind of making fun of him to the point where he even puts a mole on his face where Val Kilmer has a mole. So anyway, I just think it's so fun and so funny.
It's wonderful. All right, let's get to the obvious favorite. It's most people's favorite live-action Batman movie. It is Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight. What comes to mind when you think of The Dark Knight?
Not just the greatest Batman movie, one of the best movies, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think when we did our best movie of the century podcast, it was high on our list. It's certainly high on my all-time list. I remember the theater going experience being one of the best I ever had. I saw it 4 times in the theater. There's only 2 other movies I've done that with. And I saw it, I think I was 12 when it came out. And just right at the end, because it's a little scary, those Joker scenes where he's sticking the razor in the guy's mouth. And like, I remember being pretty affected by it when I saw it and then just being absolutely obsessed with seeing it in the theater. The advertising and marketing campaign leading up to it was so electric, so enticing. Heath Ledger's untimely passing cast this really sad yet faded kind of destiny to this movie. And it's so great. I mean, it's Batman realized as a Martin Scorsese gangster movie. And it's just, you talk about perfect this plus that's with the Batman mythology. This is it.
This is the genre in which Batman belongs, for sure. And I think what I remember most is just the intensity of the Heath Ledger performance. It's a level of acting and dedication that, obviously had tragic consequences, but you just didn't see it in these superhero movies at all. And also, we hadn't seen a live action Joker since Jack Nicholson.
Yeah,
right. And
forever,
and I think there's just this, first off, when that bank heist scene.
The opening
that
scene.
kicks it off.
Unreal.
Unbelievable. And you're just like, the stakes are immediate. Like, these Joker goons are dropping like flies. And then
Yeah.
at the end, he takes off the Joker mask. He has a Joker mask on underneath, painted on his face.
Yeah.
And then once that scene ends, you're just in breathless anticipation of, when is he coming on again? When is he coming on the screen again? And you're just waiting and waiting and waiting. And every single time he's on the screen, he totally steals the spotlight. And every scene is just an absolute home run with him in it.
So this is perhaps the critique people will have looking back at this film, is the Joker performance is so good. And Christian Bale has even talked about this. It kind of steals the spotlight from Batman. It's they're either like dual like protagonist, antagonist, where it's like almost like equal attention is paid to both their storylines, and you could kind of view the film from either of their points of view. But yeah, man, it's something where I don't really even perceive that as a negative, though, because like you said, the performance is so intense that Heath Ledger gives, but the character is so funny.
Yeah.
Like, the character makes you
yeah.
laugh so many times. I'll make a pencil disappear. Countless other lines. The interrogation scene. Like, he's really the comedic relief. And I really think the screenplay is brilliantly written. I just think they totally nailed it. Brothers, Christopher and Jonathan Nolan, they brothers. They're always good screenwriters, huh? And it's got that noirish repartee dialogue. It's very old school. It's very modern. I mean, we've watched it at least 20 times, probably more, and it's 17 years old now, that movie. Can you believe that? And it's just incredible, man. I absolutely love this movie.
Yeah, I think it ends too in such an interesting place with the Joker dangling off the edge because he's he's plummeting to his death. Let me back up a little bit. The Joker is plummeting to his death, laughing gleefully. Batman is gonna kill me. Batman killed me.
I broke him.
I broke him, and that's the thought. Like, he's like Gollum plunging after the ring, and. Instead of letting him die, as he probably should, Batman shoots his bat grappling hook, catches him, pulls him back up, and there's the famous line, I think you and me are fated to do
destined
to do this forever. And that is what they are like. And I think, to the point about him stealing the movie from Christian Bale, it works again because it is a battle for Gotham. Whose will is going to win out, the Joker or Christian Bale? And I think it's the same sort of thing with the movie, that whose will is going to win out. It's the fact that so much attention is given to the Joker. It makes it feel much more so than in many of these other superhero movies where the villain has some scheme to take over the city or the planet, that it's going to work. That the Joker's going to win.
I want to go over just a few lines we absolutely love from this movie that we somehow cram into everyday life. One of them is, I'll do the context in the film, then I'll do it in the context we use it in life. In the context of the film, Batman is beating the hell out of the Joker. Do you already know what line I'm going to say? And what line does Joker say?
Look at you go.
And this is a line you will say when we're out to dinner or something. I'm really hungry and I can eat fast. People who know me, I eat fast. And I'm housing a sandwich or I'm eating a big bowl of pasta. And you'll just kind of step back and look at me eating all this food. And what'll you say?
Look at you go.
That's great. Another line we love quoting is at the kind of gala that Joker crashes. He's torturing psychologically Maggie Gyllenhaal, and she finally has enough, and she slaps Joker in the face. And everyone's waiting for Batman to show up, and anyway, Maggie slaps him in the face, and Joker says, "A little fighting ya. I like that." And then the line I love to always say in life whenever someone says they like something is, "Then you're gonna love me."
Yes, that moment too. I remember that one being like, "Oh, awesome!" Finally,
people literally like. I remember at the movie, like, people would cheer in those moments. It just was too cool. And then, sorry, the last one is there's the I think it's the cruise ships. They divide it amongst the citizens and the prisoners.
The prisoners,
and the guy is debating whether or not to throw the detonator out the window or blow up the other cruise ship. And
it's a ferry boat. They're not on cruise ships.
Oh, sorry. And the big tough prisoner guy throws the detonator out the window. and shocks everyone. And then what is the line?
He had
says?
said it right before. He's
Oh,
like,
sorry,
I'm going to
sorry.
do what you should have done 10 minutes ago.
Yes, yeah. So when one of us has fallen behind on a chore or assignment,
Which,
that's the line
again,
we'll go to.
another beautiful work by Nolan because, you know, so often criminals are seen as sort of irredeemable in Gotham City, and yet this is the biggest, baddest criminal on the boat, like just by the way the guy looks, and he has this like faith and humanity. Like I think that's another thing about the movie that is really cool is like there's actual themes that are being explored.
Yeah, dude.
And as a final note, I think just a couple of the other great performances in the movie. Maggie Gyllenhaal, who replaces Katie Holmes,
Yeah.
right, from the first one.
Tough gig replacing an actress, yeah.
Extremely tough. I think the reason why it works so well, Gyllenhaal feels like one of those ladies who would have been in a 40s noir film. Like she just has that sort of it's not necessarily like weary beauty.
The
about her.
intellect,
Yes.
yes, absolutely. I
Yeah.
think that's totally right.
And then,
yeah.
of course, there's also Aaron Eckhart as the Harvey Dent character,
Phenomenal.
which I think just really gives a perfect third heat to it.
Yes,
I'd say that
yes.
Two-Face is the second best villain, and you get both the Joker and Two-Face in a movie. You get the transformation of Dent. He does, I would say, maybe veers a little bit over the top, and if it was in any other movie but this one, the performance would be great, but just compared to Heath Ledger's Joker, it pales a little bit in comparison. And then who plays Carmine? Eric Roberts. Eric Roberts gives it the
Unreal.
perfect sleaze that makes it that Scorsese mob movie that you talked about. His also has another guy. It's like, who are the Joker's friends? He's like, friends. Have you met this guy? That one is great as well. Where it's just like the humor. That's probably the funniest Batman,
100%,
the most serious
man,
Batman,
100%.
the most well acted. I think it checks every box.
That's phenomenal. If you haven't rewatched it in a while, go with God. Okay. All right, that's it. We've talked about everyone else who has made great works from the Batman universe. When we come back, it's the Flynn brothers' turn. And we're back. We just talked with our producer, Will Slade, who said that he doesn't love Batman Forever as much as us. So we got to call in Flynn Brothers Podcast HR. Maybe some mediation.
No, we
between all
took
of us.
care of it Batman style, and now Will Slade is lying unconscious.
To be fair, he did have Joker makeup on,
Yeah,
so it triggered something in us. All right, we are going to do a segment we call BatPitches, where we are going to, like Batman, we just threw bat in front of what we're going to do. We're going to pitch ideas to adapt or build out the Batman universe. Very free-flowing. We've done a lot of pitching on this show before, and, from what I assume, our audience loves it. Why else would we keep doing it? We're not fools, are we? All right, I start, you start. What do you think?
Well, how good do you feel about your idea? I have a pretty good one off the top.
I got a good. Why don't I do
Go
it, and
for
then
it.
you
Go
seem
for it.
confident
Go
you can
for it.
one-up me. How about that?
Sure.
Two-Face is a wonderful character.
Uh-oh.
And is this your idea?
Let's hear what you got.
And similar to how Todd Phillips and Joaquin did Joker as the standalone movie, I think Two-Face may be due for this standalone movie. And I think I kind of have an idea. You can either do a two-part film like Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, make it epic, or a two-act movie a la Full Metal Jacket. If people remember Full Metal Jacket, the first half of the movie, they're training, second half, they're in war. So I think in the two-act movie or the two-part movie, whatever it is, the first half, you have Harvey. He's Harvey Dent. He's the DA. He gets in a bit with the mob, maybe. He's a little corrupt, but he's trying to do the right thing. Maybe he encounters Batman. You sort of have Batman as this secondary peripheral character, like in Silence of the Lambs, almost the Hannibal Lecter character, right? Not that Batman would be, doing any of that. But and then you basically have his transformation occur at the halfway point of the film, and then the second half he's Two-Face. So there's kind of this nice dichotomy with the structure of the film that reflects the character. Dichotomy, duality, either of those work?
I think both of them do.
That's fabulous. I had some casting ideas.
Whoa. All right.
Austin Butler
Whoa.
How about that?
Wow.
Dashing
I
DA,
like that a lot.
and then
I
I
like
think
that a
I
lot.
think he can go crazy as
Well,
Two-Face.
as we've seen in Dune.
Yeah, absolutely, man. One of my favorite actors, Jesse Plemons. I think I can kind of see him as just like a schluck. You could, because Dent has to be kind of handsome and
Yeah.
sleazy and stuff. This would be almost more like a public defender
Well-
version of like Harvey Dent.
He's dropped all the base.
Oh, he's dropped
He's
weight.
back.
Yeah,
He's back.
He's
to,
dashing
yeah,
again.
Yeah, he's
okay,
pretty dashing
he
nowadays.
lost the
Yeah.
reverse neck pillow.
Yeah.
And, that's what I call double chins now.
I guess.
And of course, Daniel Kaluuya, I think, would be a
Whoa.
wonderful Two-Face.
Wow.
I think
could
we've
do
never had
sort of
I don't think
a-
we've had a black actor. I know
It's
Billy
true.
D. Williams played Harvey Dent in
Yes.
one of the Burton ones, but I don't think we've ever had a
You
black
could do
actor
something
do
sort
Two-Face.
of with a, because typically Two-Face gets like his face. If you like bleached the hair, like it was that would be kind of an interesting take
way to
on it.
invert it. Yeah.
Yeah. Is this
This is the idea
Yes.
that has been presented
so
to you.
he's sort of, I would imagine, first half of the movie is prosecuting mob guys,
Yes,
and
yes.
then the second half he's maybe sort of overtaking their
Yeah, exactly. I think one of the backstories is that one of the mobsters he's questioning on the stand throws acid in his face. So it could happen then, and then I think you do it very much as a gangster movie. As the second half of the film, he's kind of doing this gangster takeover. He's in the first half of the film, good guy who grows weary and undergoes this awful event. And then second half, he breaks bad, and at the end, he's fully realized as mob boss of Gotham. It's a little like the Penguin series
See.
there with Colin Farrell.
That's where I was headed. I think it's more Two-Face deserves a. I also had my idea was called Dent. I like
Oh, I
Dent,
like that.
and I think it's a HBO miniseries in the same vein as the Penguin. I'll just steal your Austin Butler casting. The thing that I thought was an interesting character to bring into it as well is because I like seeing Harvey Dent as a good guy. I like that being kind of a nice section of it. I think you can really squeeze a lot of juice out of the sort of legal drama, particularly in a city as crazy as Gotham is.
Yes.
And I was thinking, like, it'd be interesting to see Harvey Dent up against a villain, where we kind of see him up against the Joker in The Dark Knight. They don't cross paths perfectly. But the villain that we've often talked about as being underrated and underutilized is Mr. Freeze. And I think you have Mr. Freeze committing these crimes, et cetera, et cetera. He's maybe killing people. He's the number one guy that Harvey Dent is out to get.
He's certainly freezing them.
Here's the thing. Mr. Freeze is who disfigures Harvey Dent. You give him frostbite or something like that on half of his face.
Wow.
So that was my idea, and that kind of turns him loose. Maybe this builds both of them up for a live action feature with Batman, which I could get into, or I'm sure you have a sort of Batman idea that you would like to.
I'll do a quick one off your Mr. Freeze thing. I think Mr. Freeze, Matt Reeves, I know he's written Batman Part 2. It's going to come out in a couple years, and I think they're planning to do a trilogy with Pattinson, with Battinson.
He's
And
really going to get to showcase a pretty wide age range. of
by the
Batman.
end of it, he's going to be old Batman out of retirement, won't he? I think I'd like to see Mr. Freeze in their world.
Yes.
I think
He makes sense there.
really realistic. I don't know how you do the freeze gun, his hallmark weapon in a realistic fashion, but I really think he fits the world, and it would be interesting to see him in that world. I think Poison Ivy as well. But that's just a quick idea. I'll get into a longer one after you go. But yeah, that was one where just in terms of their world and the world they've created, I would like to see Mr. Freeze in that world.
I think that's great. I like your Robert Pattinson as old Batman. I think you mentioned on a previous episode you talked about Ben Affleck as an
yes.
old Batman.
Yeah.
I would not mind if James Gunn wanted to sort of bridge the two worlds. I don't think Ben Affleck or Gunn wants to do this. I would like to see old Batman, and this is my sort of idea. You've got old Batman, and you have Robin. Robin is in the mix. We don't need Robin's origin story. We're just picking up with them well established. Everybody knows
Okay.
who Robin is. Everybody knows
How
who
old's
Batman is.
Robin?
I'd say Robin's peak athletic prime, 27, 28.
Okay. And Batman?
Batman's in his late 40s, early 50s.
Okay. Over the hill.
Batman is slipping, but he doesn't want to turn over the keys to the car.
I'm
We've
loving
got a LeBron James, Luka Doncic sort of
loving it.
situation here.
Robin's out of shape.
No. Robin gets into shape as
Well,
Luke
that's
has.
the
Have
Luka.
you seen
Yeah,
the pictures
Luka,
of
that's
him?
true. He's got
He's looking great. He got a Men's Health feature and everything. Robin is picking up more and more of the slack. Batman's losing it. He's not quite as sharp as he once was. He's letting things slip his mind. He's focused maybe on a Catwoman sort of romance or something. His focus is waning. His focus is drifting. And so what happens is, as Batman is not taking things so seriously as he should, he gets injured bad in a fight. Like,
Tears his ACL.
Yeah. On the shelf. Has to be put up on the shelf. And he's like, Batman is done. The Batman project is over. We're not doing it anymore. Robin gets in the Batman suit.
Oh.
He starts going around. People are like, what the heck is going on with Batman? Batman's like fresh.
he's
Batman's
virile.
he's back. He's turned back the clock somehow.
Yes.
And he keeps fighting crime. And Bruce eventually discovers this and is furious, but then sees that Robin has been doing great. He gets on the headset. He's giving Robin the tactics. He's giving him the old dog, the sage wisdom.
It's like
that
when
he needs.
a basketball player is on the shelf for a year, tears their ACL or whatever. They're kind of the de facto assistant coach.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you might be able to see where this is coming. Insert any villain you want. You want to have Mr. Freeze, Dent. I think the
Mad
Batman.
Hatter.
Sure, whatever. I think the Batman Robin dynamic is good enough. Robin is going up against this bad guy. Let's just say Mr. Freeze for the sake of it.
Sure.
And Freeze, obviously, he's got Robin on the ropes. Robin's down bad, and it seems like he's going to die. But then Bruce shows up, just healed enough to make one last blow, take down Mr. Freeze, lock him out, and then Bruce dies.
Oh, I love it.
But
I love it.
Batman does not.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I love it, buddy. I love it. Bruce dies, but Batman does not. How about that? That's wonderful. I kind of had myself a Robin-ish idea. Robin, as he grows older, evolves into Nightwing.
Yes.
And I think a Nightwing standalone movie would be nice. I think, again, you can do old Batman as the reluctant mentor if you'd like. This is Dick Grayson Robin. I like that. I like Dick Grayson. I like people calling him Dick. And he's in Bloodhaven working as Nightwing. I think you got Batman's retired. Batgirl is who is in charge of Gotham. And they, of course, have a torrid romance in costume on a rooftop in the rain, etc. That's just kind of the big midpoint climax, if you'll forgive the double entendre.
Right.
But, I love the Nightwing character. I love the idea, similar to you, like Robin is growing up. He's learning how hard it is to be the man. And, still chafing under the almost parental supervision of Bruce.
The brutal tutelage.
The
as
brutal
well. He's
tutelage,
not
yes.
he's not a Bruce doesn't really understand the concept of a compliment sandwich.
No, he doesn't. You say something nice, the criticism, end with something nice. But yeah, I think you had a great fleshed out idea. I really think doing that or like kind of doing the Nightwing thing, because you could have Batman lives, you could have Robin likes being Batman, but it's like at a certain point Bruce is Batman, right? You wonder if Robin is like, man, that's Bruce's suit, still got his Tom Ford cologne smell and under the cod piece, and I just wonder if Dick would want to put on the Batman costume.
See, I go back and forth on that because I think that Nightwing, in theory, is cool. I like that Robin gets his own thing and he decides, I'm under a different character name.
Right.
Nightwing doesn't do the same for me as Batman.
Oh, of course.
Like the name just, I think so much of Batman is just the Batman phonetically.
Muscular sounding word,
works so well. It's like McDonald's. It's just there's something so American and rich in the that name. I need that name.
As Michael Keaton says in The Founder.
Yeah, exactly. Oh boy, we're really good. Why'd we veer over there? But yeah, I think that with because they sort of tease it a little bit at the end of Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy,
Yes.
where you've got Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who's
Yes,
known as
yes.
Robin, and he's kind
Yes.
of that's like Bruce leaves him the keys to the
Yeah.
castle. But yeah, I think my idea, I can't really see them, quite frankly, spending millions of dollars on it. I think it's more of a adapted graphic novel, animated, direct to HBO Max type of situation.
Yes, I agree. I have one more in the chamber. Did you have another idea?
I'm spent.
You're spent. Here's my last idea. We know Batman. He's been in comic books.
All right.
He's been in video games.
Oh, wait a second.
He's been in television shows. He's been in movies. One place he has never been. Broadway.
Musical, yes. I could tell that was right.
So couple ways you could do it. Musical was on my list. You definitely could do a Batman musical. To be frank, I think it's actually maybe been done before. I think
Wow.
someone's done like a parody thing. The thing I was thinking more of, I love the Batman Joker relationship. It is so iconic. It is so complex. I think you can do a 2-person Broadway show, Waiting for Godot-esque, where it's just Batman and Joker in conversation, where they're kind of pontificating upon the mythology. It's very intellectual. Maybe you'd have some physicality and some fight choreography, little comedy, little danger. And here's the best part. We cast ourselves. No, I don't know. Who am I? Who am I? Joker.
You're the
You're
Joker. You're the
Batman.
Joker.
You got the jaw, I guess, to be Batman. But I do think Batman in a live show setting would be kind of fun. With theater, there's this suspension of disbelief you can have, and I think you could do some cool things.
Well, you'd have to have a lot of fight choreography, I feel
I
like.
know,
to
yeah. I
really
was trying to
sell
move
it.
away from it and do a more, like I say, Waiting for Godot style. A lot of discussion. It'd be really for nerds. There'd be a lot of dweebs filling those theaters there on Broadway. But yeah, something Batman live. I don't know. I like it.
I like Batman Live.
You like
I
that?
enjoy that. I
Well,
like that 2-word phrase. I think this is an idea with some legs to it.
Yeah, let's
It
talk to
certainly
our
would be,
we'll talk to our patent lawyer and get some copyrights going. It's Will, by the way. He's studying patent and copyright
patent
law.
law.
All right, I think we did it, huh?
Yeah, I think we did. I think we've pretty thoroughly covered our favorite character and the greatest character in all of American literature.
Fiction.
Dang it.
Close. All right, Will, go ahead and power down the bat signal. And please subscribe, comment, and leave a rating. Send questions, comments, or big idea suggestions to our business email, flynnbrospod@gmail.com. Thank you to our producer, the Batman forever hating Will Slade. And we'll see you next time on the Flynn Brothers podcast. Take care, buddy.
Hey, buddy, you take care.